This is Andy Purwell for Boxing Social, and I'm delighted and very privileged and thankful to be joined now by John Fury. John, first and foremost, thank you for allowing me to come up to your house today and give you a brief chat, because I know you're not keen on doing interviews anymore and staying away from the spotlight.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it's nice to have you here, Andy.
Appreciate that. Obviously, we spoke after Tommy's last fight in Leicester, and the idea was that I'd come up, and a lot of this chat will be around mental health, because it's affected not just Tyson. I know when people mention the Fury name, they think naturally of Tyson and what he's been through, but our chat and our discussion, we went over how it affected more members in your family, and it was something that was an interesting topic that both of us have had affected in our lives, in the sense that my uncle took his life from depression, and you've had issues with mental illness across your family as well. So obviously the reason behind this interview, I know we'll touch on Tyson and Tommy, etc., but I think that's the best place to start, because it was a reason why we decided to do this interview. I think perfect place would be with Tyson, and let's just take it back to his victory over Vladimir Klitschko. When he was victorious in that fight, could you have ever imagined him having that roller coaster ride where he would hit the lows that he did before reaching the highs again?
Absolutely, because to be honest with you, he was like that before he fought Klitschko. He had mental health problems when he dethroned Klitschko. This thing was just waiting to happen. It was in the wings of everything, waiting just to appear, and it did after the Klitschko fight. But make no mistake about it, he wasn't 100% when he fought Klitschko. He had numerous problems in the camp going up to the fight, and he kept getting depressed and whatnot. But you know what? The intense training, I think the endorphins from the training helped take the edge off the problem. But when he wasn't training, all the exercise stopped. I think that's when it spiraled out of control, really, and the activities and whatever took place afterwards, which helped it to spiral out of control, I think.
Tyson's mentioned in previous interviews, and you've mentioned yourself, that it isn't just something that's come post Vladimir Klitschko fight, it was happening before then. How long has Tyson struggled with mental health?
All his life, basically, because at the end of the day, my father had mental health problems, and he had medication from being a very young man to sort himself out, because when my father, which is Tyson's granddad, had these problems, nobody even knew what they was. People just thought he was just a horrible human being, and a split personality and all that. But that's not the point. If people's not well and there's no research been done into it, because years ago, if they didn't think you was right, just put you in a madhouse and leave you there. And that was the end of you. But today, it's a more like widespread thing. There's more sufferers now coming out of the woodwork because they know now they can. Like before, if you had mental health problems sort of thing, it was like a derogatory thing on you being a man, being a sensible, responsible adult and all that. So people just suffered with it in silence. And that's what made it worse, I do believe. Times have moved on. Everything else is in the open, so why not bring mental health there too? Because it's a more serious thing. It's a more serious job than cancer, I think. Because people's walking about depressed, unhappy, wanting to commit suicide every hour of the day. That's not a life. That's not even an existence, is it? That's purgatory. And people do need to come out and talk. And the only way I believe to conquer this is speaking about it and sitting down and talking to people, sufferers like yourself, and it can only get better from that. Just to leave it and just deal with it day by day and just sit there in anger and silence and being false all day. We're really inside you raging with anger. It's no way to walk and live life or treat everybody else and put other people through it either. Because it's all other suffering, not just yourself. Other people suffer with it as well. When you're there and you're not right, it has a ripple effect on other people around you. Everybody, even your friends, family, whoever you may be with that time, they're getting bad vibes from you because you can't hide mental health. It's there, it's there. You try to cover it up, but it won't work. Like I say, it's a thing what needs addressing properly, and there should be more done about it, to be honest with you. It's very serious. I hear of people taking their lives every day, mainly young adults. It's not so much in people my age, it's all young people, which is a crying shame, really, because they've had no life, have they? So we're here to help, and that's what we're doing this video about today, to help people in that struggle of life.
How do you try and endorse or promote the options and the help out there to people who are struggling with mental health, especially men, because men have this attached stigma that, you know, just get on with life, just go through it, it'll pass. You know, it's been passed down. You know, my dad's very much hardcore, and he'd have that mentality to try and get over things. You know, how do you try and get away from that and tell people you need to go speak to people, you need to get away from that mentality?
The mentality with most people is, Andy, is that they can't help the way they are. You know, and some people, they're just averse to medication. They don't want to be seen as being weak or being around a doctor, you know, and but it'll only get worse and worse. You know, obviously, you know, it's in my family, the mental health thing. Obviously, I probably suffer with it myself, but I deal with things different because I'm old school, you know. And if I have a problem, I just think, you know what, there's people worse off than me, you know, and I can deal with this. You know, you hear tragedy every day. So who am I to complain when I'm healthy? Everything's going right. You know, we all have down days. Ups and downs is life, but some people can't look at it like that. They hit a brick wall and they spiral out of control and they just think life ain't worth living and kill themselves.
So you just mentioned, you know, you've dealt with it for, at times in your life. How was your circumstances different to Tyson's, and how did you exactly go about trying to deal with it?
I'm stronger than Tyson. I'm old school, you know, we were brought up rough and tough, you know. And I used to look at the only problems I seen is death. You know what I'm saying? That was the only problem, or if you was dying with a terminal illness. But this mental health thing never come into play because we never had time to sit around like we do today. You know, I spent all my young days working. I was too tired to feel down and depressed because when you're up at 5:30 in the morning, you get into bed at 10 o'clock at night in the summer, and same winter time was working daylight till dawn till dark. You know, you had no time to feel sad. You had no time to get down because you was tired. But now people's got more time. They don't work as hard. They don't do as much. They've got more free time because there's more handouts out there. There's free money, you know. And with all these problems come free money. And that's the problem. The free money's the problem. They need to work more and then they wouldn't feel as depressed. Give them something to do in their life like we did 40 years ago, you know. Us kids, you look forward to getting them going to work. Our day off was Saturday. So we was all happy on Friday and Thursday, you know, because it's nearing the time we can all be happy. And when you take that out of your life, something to look forward to. If you've not got routine and nothing to look forward to and every day's the same, you're going to have problems, aren't you? You know, but every day is the same today. Everybody does the same thing. They're all following one another like the blind leading the blind, and they don't do anything different. They all want to copy each other. If somebody else wears a pair of shoes, they want the same, you know. It wasn't like that in my day. It was all different individuals, different people. You know, we got on different things and we had stuff to look forward to. But I do believe it's all to do with work, not having enough to do. You should be made work compulsory. From leaving school, you should be made work. Whether it's for low pay or not, it's an education. It keeps you out of trouble and it keeps your mind occupied. And there'll be no time for all of this. You know, because when you've got time on your hands, anything can happen. You know, but I believe if you've got a job to go to every day and you got this and you got that and it's hard work and you need to focus your attention on other stuff, you haven't got time for that. But even so, there's some sufferers out there more than enough. Even work don't alter the job. They've gone too far, you know. But I'm only just saying, at the beginning, as a young man leaving school, have something to do, have days to look forward to. You know, plan something. You know, if it's an holiday, it's a day out with your family or your friends, plan it and look forward to it and enjoy it. Because life's meant to be enjoyed. You've only got one crack at it. And when you commit suicide and you're dead, what have you done? You're laid in darkness forever in a cold grave. And that's not a lot to look forward to, is it? Is that worth dying over? And all your feelings can put you there. Because when it's over, it's over. And life is sweet to a dog. Look here around you, the sun's shining. The green on the trees, the birds whistling, it don't get any better. And the best things in life are free. And I do believe, forget what the rest of the world do. Concentrate on yourself. And it's not all about money, fame and fortune. I know people that's, you know, very low income, modest living, and they're probably happier than me. And that's the way it is. Fame and fortune don't make anybody happy. Because look at the movie stars and the famous people that's committed suicide and they've all suffered from mental health. So that's not it. We need to find something to focus on, what changes our perspective towards mental health, what blocks it out. You know, it'll be there. There's an answer for it somewhere. We just got to find it.
I know you said that like work is key, especially when you're young. So say for somebody who's Tyson's age or 40 or something, you know, how do you go about trying to steer their mind away from mental illness? Not necessarily steer their mind away from it, but like help them. And what would be your words of encouragement or words of advice to try and deal with any situations going on for people who may be of that age instead of younger?
I just say there's other people suffering like myself in that same age group. There's groups where you can go down and you can have talks and sit down and see people and talk about different stuff, you know, and it's quite enjoyable. I only sat a driving course the other day for points on my licence, and I thought, you know what, this is good. Why couldn't we have groups like this in the mental health? You know what I'm saying? Where people can like-minded what's suffering can sit down and talk about the problems. And I quite enjoyed the day, to be honest with you. And I thought, look here, I got 4 hours now. Don't want to be here. But when I seen everybody together and it was all in the same boat, they're all there for driving offences, I quite enjoyed it, to be honest with you. And I learnt a lot that day about driving. And I've been driving 40 years. You know, so at the end of the day, I learnt from that day at a motoring course. So what can we do in a mental health course in the same environment with like-minded people? And it's enjoyable stuff. It was all there sick over the points was everybody was laughing in the building. And that's what I liked, you know what I'm saying? All kinds was there. Asian people, Chinese people, every creed was there sorting the job out. And that was only for a driving offence. You know, so if we can get something like that going for the mental health as well, groups we can go to and spend 2 or 3 hours a day talking about your problems, they're not as bad. When you see somebody else in the same boat and they're getting up to come there and they're putting themselves out to be there with the rest of the people to help out, that can only be good, can't it? And that's what we need to do, of all ages. Get it together, have little group meetings once a week or whenever you want to go, have people you can phone, you know, 24 hours, whether it's night or day, and they're all an hand to help, aren't they? And just block this suicide rate out, you know what I'm saying? Because talking about it solves a lot of problems. You know, a cup of tea? That's a cup of tea, isn't it? That can solve a lot of problems in the right company, in the right environment. That's all it takes. Simple matters to sort problems out with mental health. It's just when it gets left, they're on their own, they've no one to talk to, you know, people ignore them, people don't want to be around them because they're probably hostile the way they are, there's no fun in them. So people don't want to be around that. They want to move on to happy people, don't they? You know, but I'm one of them who care about people with problems because I've had problems all my life. You know, listen, dying's easy, living that's hard, you know. And if you're not living correctly in the right way, what good is it? And that's how people think. They think, you know what, life ain't worth living, there's no enjoyment, I'm getting up depressed every day. I might as well be dead, but it's not the case. To swap life for a cold, dark grave for eternity, it's not much of a swap. So I say, get help. Seek like-minded people. What's willing to help. And there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of bad people in the world, a lot of good people and all. There's more good than bad, and they're there to help you. Like me doing this today. I could be doing different things today with my time, you know, but at the end of the day, I feel it's important. That's why I'm sat here with you, Andy, discussing this matter. And I just hope people can get on with what I'm saying and, you know, understand me from where I'm coming from. And I'm just an uneducated guy who's never seen the inside of a school classroom in my life. But I'm educated enough to know, streetwise enough to know that people out there needing help, and I'm the one to put the word forward.
So with your family then, how deep has mental illness been? I know Tyson's, like I mentioned, and everybody knows he's had mental illness problems. Have any of your other sons struggled with mental health?
Listen, I think everybody suffers a little bit now and again, but it's how to deal with it. And everybody's different, aren't they? But Tyson's got mental health on both sides. On his mother's side it comes from, on my side it comes from. My father had medication for it, you know. His mother has had mental health problems, you know, where she gets depressed and all that. Everything is the same way, all his aunts and uncles. I actually had an uncle and his wife went to Australia to get away from him because she didn't understand what it was. He was up and down like a yo-yo, he wasn't a nice man to be around. So he come back from work one day, lo and behold, he had no family. He had an empty house, and when he found out where he was 2 months later, they went to Australia. So they planned all that in advance, and he didn't know a thing about it. Because he was a mental health sufferer, and that sent him over the edge, and then what did they do? They put him in an asylum and left him there for 2 years. You know, and at the end of the day, that's what they used to do. But isn't that sad? That's what's in my family background, and that was my grandmother's brother, and he was a boxer, you know. He had over 100 contests inside the ring and outside the ring. But he was a mental health sufferer. And there was no treatment for it in them days. People just kept away from you. They ostracised you. They thought you're not a nice man. They avoided you. They give you a fast hello and even quicker goodbye. And that was how they dealt with stuff. But what happened? He got drunk one night and died in an empty house. And he was in this empty house for 2 months before his body was discovered. No way to end your life. And that's what mental health is in my family. You know, when they found him, the rodents had chewed his face. And it was unrecognisable because he'd been in the house so long. And in them days, a condemned house, nobody went in it. He was there for 2 or 3 months. And the only way they identified him is because he had his sister's address in his pocket with a name on it. So that's a terrible story, isn't it? That was my grandmother's brother, and he was a boxer, you know. And I wouldn't want that to happen again, not in my lifetime. But you know what? History has a habit of repeating itself, doesn't it? You know, but I'm making sure that never happens to one of my kids. Never. As long as I'm drawing breath and I'm here to help, I'm going to help my kids along with others, you know, because it's a terrible thing. I've seen the devastation and the debris left all over the place, what it causes. And it's not a good thing, is it, Andy? I've just told you something there what would probably alarm a lot of other people. He died on his own. And he had a family of children. But no one was interested. And what did they do? Turn to drink. There wasn't no drugs in them days, but there was plenty of drink. And they drunk themselves to oblivion and didn't know what they was doing to blot out these problems. But I've grown up with that. I've heard that story 1,000 times in my life. So I'm half aware growing up as a young boy about mental health. And I watched my father how he was, because it was his mother's brother, and it obviously passed down to him. And all my father's brothers and sisters, they all suffered mental health. They all had treatment for it. Every one of them. They're all dead now. But everyone was on treatment for mental health. You know, there's only, I think who I take after, and my brothers, because none of us suffer with it, is my mother. Because my mother, she was strong. She was a strong-willed, willful woman, you know, and whatever she wanted to do, she set her mind to doing it. And in her life, there was no time for weaknesses. She was working all her life. She was working as a man, doing man's labour all her life. Come from a poor family, you know, and she knew the struggles of life, and she didn't have any time for that kind of thing in her life. You know, even though she watched my dad suffer, her abruptness and her solidness and her stubbornness and willfulness helped my dad through it all. And she used to say to him, listen, you're the man of the house, I'm the woman of the house, look how you're performing today, get your act together, come on, we've got work to do. And she'd force him to do stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that was the way forward. She forced him to do it even when he didn't want to do it, but in a nice way. She'd say, come on, be a man, you're supposed to be a man and be the head of the house, come on, forget this now, we've got kids here, we've got a home to look after, let's get on and do it together. You know, and I'm here for you, and that's the way it is. And I think that's what got my father through. Even though he died at a young age, it wasn't nothing to do with mental health related things, you know. And so you can see what kind of family we have here.
When Tyson was struggling, what was your involvement in trying to help him?
Well, I'd seen it before, hadn't I? You know, I'd seen it all before, and I just thought, you know what, we're going to put everything to one side here and take our time with this and investigate it properly. Get him here, get everything else and everybody out of his life that wasn't willing to help, you know, and just take it step by step. You know, and that's what we did. 2 years of hell we had here with him. 2 years up and down, in and out, doing this, doing that, going for 5-mile walks, going for walks at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, him getting up, wanting to talk to somebody, we had to be there on hand to do it with him. You know, it wasn't an easy ride, but you know what, when you're dealing with someone of his calibre, I wasn't going to throw my son away. No way. I don't care if we had to sit up with him 24 hours a day. He was there on hand to talk about what he wanted to talk about, to deal with how he felt, not how we felt. You know, because we're all right. We're trying to bring a unique person with a multitude of talents back to normal health instead of just wasting him. You know, I'm proud of myself. We did all that. We did it. His family done it. You know, we didn't have any doctors. Yeah, it was doctors on hand. We seen him a couple of times. But every time we went there, they seemed to knock him back a bit. They'd done the best for him, but he thought, you know what? I'm seeing these people. I thought he thought, you know what? He must have thought it was a slayer on his manhood or something when he went there. Do you understand what I'm coming from? He felt weak when he went there. So I thought, hang on, this might not be the way, the doctors. We can do this. Like doing man stuff, doing boy stuff, doing things families do, you know. Ordinary, everyday stuff brought him out of it. You know, we didn't have any drinking, nothing like that. We just went for walks, talks. Walking and talking brought him back to life. You know, and sometimes a fool can make a wise suggestion now and again. And we spoke to all kinds of different people daily. Sufferers, walking down the road, people say, all right, Tyson, this, that, and the other, and getting conversation, engaging conversation. And that's the key, engaging in conversation with everything. I don't care if you're talking about the leaves on the trees. When you're not well, any kind of conversation is a must. You know, and that's what brought him out of it. Time on people's patience.
What was it like for you personally to see Tyson struggling the way that he was? What was going through your mind? Was there ever any moments when you were really struggling to see your son in the states that he would have been in?
It's always been Tyson-like, but I've seen some peculiar stuff with him, and the frightening thing is you're just only seconds away from something stupid happening, aren't you? And that's the terrifying thought, I think, with all of this. Once they get them thoughts in their head and they're by themselves, anything can happen. It's all over within seconds. It's done then. So you couldn't leave him alone by himself for long, because I don't think he'd have been here now. If we wasn't wrapped around him like a blanket 24 hours a day, I don't think he would have been here. You know, and he knows that himself. You know, he's not completely well now, in my opinion. He's still got a long way to go, but he's managing it. No one can beat mental health, but it can be managed properly. You know, and he is managing it. And to get him back to fighting shape like he is now, forget when he fought Deontay Wilder. He was only 40% of the man he was, mentally and physically. You know, and to be honest with you, it was a liberty on their part wanting to box him. But that just shows you what kind of man Tyson is. And the thought of fighting Deontay Wilder took his mind off the mental problems. He focused on him. And for all in that camp, the 10 weeks he was training, he was as weak as water. Things wasn't going to plan. It was probably the worst camp he's ever had. It was probably the happiest camp he's ever had, because he wasn't thinking about mental health rubbish. He was thinking about him and getting them belts back, even though I thought at the time it was an impossible task. I thought, but at least out of all of this madness, because that's all that I thought the fight was, there's something good coming out of it. And the good was he wasn't worried about him going into depression, because he was training hard, concentrating on something, and he'd done everything he was meant to do, and it all fell into place for him. And he even beat him. Yeah. I know he got the draw, and it goes down in history as a draw, and maybe in 30 or 40 years' time people just see the D instead of the W, because that's what they do. That's all they want to see. But the true factor of it, he went to hell and back to come back to regain his status at the top by beating the most dangerous man in the world. And obviously, they get up in the 12th round. Yeah. He got up for every sufferer out there on earth. And he had a bit of help from divine intervention, because it was in a good cause. God knew he needed to help a lot of people in his position. And I do believe Tyson's put here for that reason, to help other people, help other sufferers, you know. And he's had to go through some bad stages to get to the position and platform he's got today. All that had to happen. The past, the present had to happen to give him the platform he's needed to address all his problems. And I know for a fact the world's a better place for mental health sufferers now Tyson's around.
Everything you've just mentioned with regards to his focus for the Wilder fight, etc. I'm going to come on to that after my next question, but this final question before moving on to that is, at the end of last year, you know, Tyson went on a podcast and he said that he was driving in his car and he wanted to drive off a bridge. Did you know about that prior to that podcast, that was something that Tyson had done, or was it thinking about, and what other circumstances similar to possibly committing suicide did you know about?
That's just one of many. I know about plenty, you know what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, I do believe all the physics say he shouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? With the mishaps he's had, with the near close calls he's had, he shouldn't be alive today, to be honest with you. But there's a reason for him being here, and like I said to you before, this is the reason people put you on this earth, to do good. You know, and you go back down the ages, there's always these massive figures that stand out, who are big names, what's done good things, you know, and they're there to be remembered. And we're remembering them years and years after they actually expired, you know. So he's here to do a job, and his job is to address the mental health thing, and the boxing is the platform for it all, you know. And that's what you need, because everyone needs a platform. Because if he wasn't Tyson Fury, the outspoken, happy-go-lucky heavyweight champion of the world, this brash young fellow that didn't really care for much, you know, or do much, and did it his own way, people would not listen to him. Even me, if I wasn't Tyson's dad, who would listen to me? If I weren't Tyson's dad, you probably wouldn't even be here doing this interview, because it wouldn't make any difference, because nobody want to hear me. Nobody wants to hear a nobody, do they? Whatever they say, if they're not up there in the lights and they're not some related to some famous person, nobody will listen. But we're given platforms. Even me, I've been given a platform. All the wrong what's happened in my life, that's happened for a reason. You know, and I said when I got all that jail, because I've been in and out of jail most of my life, to be honest. And I say to myself, there's reasons for it. And the reason is I'm sort of doing this video with you today, you know, and talking about in-depth stuff and people in need. You know, and no matter what background you're from and what you've done in your life, it just shows you can help. So never give up in anything you do. There's people out there what's done far worse than any next man, but listen to them. They've got a story to tell. And sometimes there's a better story than them who's supposed to be proper people, you know. So here we are today doing all this. And I know nobody like me giving all this out to mental health because I don't want to see any more people die. Wasted lives over something that could be talked about and dealt with and managed, just like we've managed it. And it's quite fun. If you've got a family relative what's suffering, or you've got a friend what's suffering, when you know you're helping out and it's working, it's quite enjoyable. It's enjoyable stuff to know you're helping. Believe me, it's the biggest reward. Money, paychecks couldn't give you the satisfaction that can help you. That can give you through helping other people, you know what I'm saying? And that's my reward in life now. I want nothing else. I've had everything in my life now. I'm middle-aged now, so at the end of the day, if I can focus on helping other people and I can go to my grave happy because I've saved a few young lives, I've given them the chance to get to the age I am now, sort of thing. You know, just by talking, even doing these videos like this. And, you know, if people look at this now, they know from all walks of life they're not alone. They're not alone in the struggle for life, are they? There's people here who want to talk about it like me today. You know, so I don't know what else I can really say about the matter.
So obviously, like I said, I was going to move on to Tyson's career. As you mentioned, you know, Wilder, etc. On the back of Klitschko, you know, Tyson came back and he said that, you know, within months of that, he didn't really feel like he got the recognition he deserved for that performance. I remember watching the fight; it was brilliant, and I think he stunned a lot of people with just how good he was. Do you believe that yourself, that he wasn't given the credit that he deserved for that performance against Vladimir Klitschko?
To be honest with you, I don't really want to talk about that because that's in the past. You know, that was then. Today's today. It's a new day. Everybody knows what happened, and I don't want to bang on about it much more. You know what I'm saying? It's history. But like I said, all that had to happen to give him the platform he's got today. You know, yes, it did happen. But yeah, probably they're sorry for that as well. They regret that. He regrets a lot of stuff. They probably will. But we're going to admit it, aren't we? Probably they won't. But at the end of the day, they're the powers that be, we're not. I'm a man who knows my position in life. You know, and if you rock a boat, you expect to fall out of it. And he fell out of it. You know, it had to happen. It had to happen. But you know something? There's all good come out of it. It couldn't be any better for Tyson at the moment. And people wrapped round him. And all his friends and all the sufferers out there. This is a great, great story. And it's not really a story, it's living life. Fact to life, isn't it? It's not a joke. It's not this, it's not that. It's the truth we're talking about here. And the truth, a lot of people don't want to talk about the truth because it hurts, doesn't it? You know, but all those people were an hand in doing what they done. You know, God bless them, it had to happen. These things are set all in stone before we actually act the part out, you know. So I got no gripes with anybody, no. Let live and let live. There's good and bad in everybody. I treat people like they treat me. You can't get nowhere better than that, really.
So we'll obviously fast forward Tyson's return. When Tyson returned, what was going through your mind in terms of the levels that he was able to box at? Did you think that he could have comfortably boxed at a better level, or that he was mentally ready to do so? Or did you think that he needed the couple of fights that he did have against the likes of Pianetta before stepping in with Deontay Wilder?
What fights I thought he needed was none. I thought he could do with about 25 exhibition bouts. That was a physical condition of Tyson, mentally and physically. I thought, you know what, contemplating boxing for real in the ring, for my money, was a no-no from where he was at. But, you know, my son has proved a lot to me in his life, that he's a different man than what I thought he was. You know, so at the end of the day, I like to be proved wrong by my own sons, you know, and he's proved me wrong. But yeah, getting back to the fighting, you know, it was what it was. those sellout arena them sellout crowds in the arena at the Emirates Arena, the night of his comeback, yes, it was a bit of a dancing job and whatever, a farcical, but that was Tyson. How lucky was he to be back in that ring, even standing and walking around with the man in front of him, let alone competing, you know. And I was a proud man. I thought, it can only get better from here. But I thought the likes of world titles was a long way down the road, you know. And I thought, you know what, we went to Ireland. I looked at him then, I thought, yeah, you're 2 years away from getting back to where he was. And all of a sudden, this thing with Wilder come about. I went mad. I thought, you know what, suicide, all of this. You know, I thought, I was starting to look into everybody around him. I was thinking, could his team be trusted? Could his people around him, his actual, everybody that deals with him, can they be trusted? And I thought, no, they can't. But you see, the difference between me, I love him. They don't. They see him as a product to make money. I love him, he's my son. I love him as much, whether he was skint or whether he had $1 billion, you know, but they don't care. It's all about money for them. It wasn't about money for me. I thought, look here, these are going to break everything down we've worked so hard for just for money, and we're going to be left picking the pieces up of a broken pot, you know, at the end of the day, and that's what grieved me. And they steered him into it. They made him do all this. And even today, you lose a bit of confidence in people, don't you? You lose a bit of confidence in people, and I've lost confidence in them, because I was the only one saying don't do it. Yes, it worked out well. Yes, the event was spectacular. Yes, it'll go down in history. But they also could have been a B-side to all of that. Permanent injury. Lives destroyed. Wives without husbands. Kids without fathers. And looking at a broken man for the rest of my life. That was the B-side. And I wasn't prepared to gamble. But those people around him, they was prepared to gamble. And I realise now that your family's life cannot be trusted in anybody's hands, in no one's hands. Listen to nobody, only the people who love you, you know. I don't want to be Tyson's friend. I want to be his dad. And you can't be his dad and his friend as well, can you? And you better be a dad than a friend, because a friend at some point will let you down, you know, because it's either him or you. And the friend thing, it only goes so far. But a dad thing, a dad, if he's a good dad, he'll die for his offspring, won't he? And like me, I would do. And I thought, you know, I'm not trading my son's life for wealth and fame and fortune, what everybody's got. Because you name people out there, all those superstars out there, they come and go. And 20 years down the line, nobody remembers them. It's like Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer ever lived in my eyes. Nobody mentions the man now. And he's only been dead 4 years or so, you know. Who mentions him? No one. Is that worth swapping a life for? And wrecking everybody's life around him? And having a ripple effect to destroy people within a radius of, well, a world around him, you know what I'm saying? So therefore, I wasn't prepared to gamble, but there he was. And for that reason, I've lost respect for him. I don't even talk to him. And I'll say this on camera. I don't even talk to him anymore. No one. Because they're gambling with things they shouldn't be gambling with, because it doesn't. His life don't belong to them. I've got more right to his life than they have. And it's up to his family, what love him, to have the end result. But Tyson's Tyson. He had a choice. He could have said no. But Tyson went with it. You know, because people was around him were telling him he could do it. And I was saying he couldn't do it. And I knew, even when I was watching him box all night long with Deontay Wilder there for 12 rounds, I knew it weren't the real Tyson in there. Because I know him. I know what he can do. I know his capabilities of him. But I seen a man 40% of what he should be. You know, even now he's still getting back to match fitness. He's still not there yet, but he will be. This is his 4th fight out. Watch where there'll be another 3 or 4 fights. I want to see Deontay Wilder with him in 2020. Let's see if he gets himself put forward, and I'll take odds this time. Because he fought a weak, mentally unbalanced Tyson. Because if he'd been in his right state of mind, he would never have contemplated fighting Wilder, would he? You know, it was only a mental health sufferer that people could get in their head and brainwash. And they brainwashed him into thinking all this. You know, and with his character, with his undeniable will to win, he got exploited. And he got sent to America. And they robbed him anyway. He went over there, after all the odds were stacked against him, they had to rob him of the greatest thing that any athlete or any man could ever do, against all the odds. He should never have fought Deontay Wilder on that night. He should never have fought him, but he did. And the outcome was spectacular. It'll never be forgotten about. People might want to forget about it, but they know the truth is that he is one superhuman being. And all these other men, if they'd have been through what Tyson's been through, they'd never have thought about boxing. They'd have been thinking about walks in the park, sitting on benches, looking at flower beds, looking at people walking, dogs going by. That's what place he was in. But to come back and regain the heavyweight championship of the world on 45%, and they had to get political because they couldn't have him as being the most greatest comeback in sports history. So they had to deny him with a draw. And if you get a draw abroad, that means you've won everything. And I had that fight 10-2. But you know what? I don't know how Deontay Wilder's living from day to day. Because every time I looked in the mirror, I think, you know what? A kid, an ex-drug addict, an ex-alcoholic, let's say, an ex-fat boy, has beat me. And they've had to get political to take it out of his hands. I couldn't live with that. I'd be phoning Tyson up every day. I'd be making videos saying, you know what? I lost that fight. I lost it. Good luck to you. A mental health sufferer, a man what suffered undeniable consequences to be in this position, has beat me. And people would think more of him for coming clean. Instead of hiding behind this plastic image like you're Mr. Invincible, he got beat by a mental health sufferer. You know, a man on 45% of what he could do. A man who'd lost 10 stone who was physically weak. Because when he left me, he couldn't bench press 60 kilos. You know, I can do 120s. And I'm an old man. He was like that. He was like that with a bar with 60 key on when he was fighting Deontay Wilder. You know, and he kept saying to me, oh, it's a boxing match, not a weightlifting thing. It's not a weightlifting competition, it's a boxing match. But the problem is, his body strength wasn't there because he'd lost too much weight. His punching power weren't there, nothing. Because I know my son, he didn't get physical with Wilder. If he'd have got physical with him and roughed him up and pushed him back and brought him into the trenches, Deontay Wilder would not have lasted the distance. You know, but it was a long distance fight. Tyson couldn't engage. Tyson only used boxing ability and a boxing brain to do what he done. Because he knew he wasn't physically strong enough. But he had enough brains to say, this is how I've got to do it, to get through it and win. Box him. You know, and he'd done a hell of a job. You know, it'll never be forgot about. But, you know, Deontay Wilder needs to look in the mirror and say, you know what, come clean. I lost to Tyson. You know, and people will think different of him. Because I'm telling you now, if my boy suffered the same thing with a mental health sufferer and had to draw and get political to get a result, I'd have said, you know what, own up to it, you got beat, boy, by a better man on the night. You know, it can come again. You know, everybody can come again, they're going to fight again, but you know what? The result now will always be the same, a Tyson win. Because if you can't beat a man when he's at his weakest, you're not going to beat him when he's at his best, are you? If he's at his strongest and his best, and you couldn't beat him at his weakest and his lowest, you've no chance, have you? And they know that. All of them know it. It's just a matter of time. Tyson is just ticking boxes for the people what's around him. But when it comes to the big showdown with the other two, there won't be no contest, and they know that. And that's why they'll run as long as they can. You know, all this thing with Tom Swartz, whoever Tyson may fight, this is all a build-up for them to make money, get him promoted, get him seen, get people to want to buy tickets, get him out there. But the bottom result is when they need to fight Tyson, there's only one result. Tyson's a clear winner. And all them greats know this. You asked all them great trainers out there, they all say the same thing. You know what? You can't stand in front of men that can blow the side of this house out with one shot. You've got to have a brain to box him, and he's been born with a boxing brain and even better boxing ability, you know what I'm saying? And when he's fitter and stronger and back to his own normal self and walking around at fighting weight, they'll have a problem. And I said that first.
When the scorecards were read out, before the scorecards read out, I should say, was you sat here thinking, Massey, he's done it, he's going to be given the WBC world title?
Yeah, because I thought, to be honest with you, I thought, I'd him, to be honest with you, even if you want to be generous and give Wilder the 4 rounds out the 12, 8-4 don't make a winner, does it? But I didn't even have it like that. The 2 knockdown rounds, he even come back in the 12th to hurt Wilder and share the round, I believe. But a knockdown's a 10-8 round, that's it. Once you've touched down, the round's gone. I believe that, and that's the fact of the matter. But when I read the scorecards out, especially from a fella Brit, Phil Edwards, who lives 30 miles from here, He's a living joke, that fella. You know, he is what they call, for me, a traitor in the highest order. But somebody's got their arm up the back, they get little brown envelopes for being a good boy, don't they? They're yes men, aren't they? These men, these are cockroaches in life. What will sell the soul for a fiver, you know? So they're not men in my eyes. But those kind of rats can take glory off good men. Good men, what deserves glory, a rat will take it away from them. My dad always said, a good-for-nothing man will cost a good man his life. And that's the truth about people like that. But it's a political world we live in. It's a plastic society. Everybody, when they walk out that front door, is being something they don't want to be, but they've got to. Because if I walked in a job of work, being myself every day, I'd probably get sacked within an hour. So they've got to take all the problems, leave them in their house, and walk out that door being somebody else from 9 till 5. Hello, hi, yeah, having a nice day? Yes, lovely day. And people crying inside. If I'm crying inside, people know about it. Because I'm not a fake person, you know what I'm saying? If I'm upset out there, the village knows I'm upset. You know what I'm saying? If I've got something to say, I'll say it. But some of these people, we live in a society now where it's just good for what they do to be false. And being false is when you're feeling something and you're portraying other feelings out to the other people. You know, you're not letting people get to know the real you, are you? And you're doing all that to fit into society and be the same as everybody else. And probably when you're coming back home and getting indoors, you're chewing 6-inch nails and you're looking in the mirror and you're disappointed with yourself, thinking, why have I been fake like that? It's because they've got to be. Because everything they own and everything they do and live by, the rules, says that they've got to do that. Not this chap, not my family. Because if I had to eat A with that donkey in that field there, I'd be myself. You know, and that's the whole idea. God give us our own free will. He didn't say, okay, I'm creating people to be fake and false because it suited the moment. You know what I'm saying? And it's like anything in this world. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it. And I think the greatest thing you can ever get in life today is being yourself and get respected for being yourself and saying how it is and respecting good people's words of wisdom. Not just brushing them under the carpet because they might not fit your gender. And that's what life's about. Being yourself and expressing your feelings, whether they're good or bad, and talking. There's no communication in life today. And like I say about the fake persona is because it fits the mood out there. You've got to walk into, say you work in an office and you've had a bad day. You know, things were going wrong at home and you've got to walk in the office with a smile on your face and it's killing you. And you've got to sit there for 7 or 8 hours, you know, with this plastic smile on your face and being civil when you don't want to be civil. How's that? That's a bad feeling, isn't it? You know, but that's life as we know it. And who am I to change it? No one. But I can talk about it. And if somebody can get anything out of what I'm saying, you know, well, I've done the job. It's been worth doing the video. But I say to people in all walks of life, try and be yourself and say what's on your mind, you know. If you think somebody's doing a wrong thing, say it to them. You know, don't, you know, what's the word for it when you know somebody's talking absolute rubbish, but you're going along with it? What's the word for it? You know this person isn't being himself, or he's, he's being fake, yeah. But you're going along with it because it fits the situation. I don't know. There's that many words for things. I'm not educated enough to get it across, really. But you know what I mean, don't you? Yeah. People out there can understand. If you're being fake with me and I know you're being fake and I'm being fake back, is there any point in me and you talking in the first place? Is there? We're not learning nothing from one another. We're not doing anything for one another. We just live in this fake piece of rubbish life they live, you know. And all of a sudden they come back in. Haven't you done it yourself when you've met people in the street and you've talked to them on odd occasions, you've seen them again in a different environment and they're totally different people. Yeah. You think, why the hell did I pass you time of day? You're a sod, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it happens. That's people are like that. It's called keeping your job, innit? Saying what's right, being political correct. I'm not political correct at all. I say what I believe is right. And I'm wrong in most things, by the way. But you know what? I've had guts to say them. I've had the bottle to come out and say it. You know, well, I thought it was right, so I said it. You know, I know you should think before you speak a lot. Well, what is there to think about if you think you're right and you want to get a point out there and people's not listening to you? You know, so you got to do your thing, haven't you? Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's what I'll say. Say what's on your mind. You know, don't say it in an aggressive manner. Say it so people can understand you and maybe take it on board. You know, and that's all you ask from people. But sometimes when you're speaking to a lot of people, what they do is they're humouring you, aren't they? They're listening to you, they're nodding their head and they're not interested in the blind bit of saying. Whatever you're saying, they're not a blind bit of interest in what you're saying. And you get a lot of that today. And that's why I become now a recluse. I don't bother with nobody. Because when you talk to people, they're looking at you like you're some mad human being with a bad background. You don't fit nowhere. You're a square peg in a round hole. But who wants to be around that man? No one, you know. So they're not giving you a chance to do anything or be yourself. Because they're judging. They'll judge you. And what they do is judge and they come up, put 2 and 2 together and make 35 or something, you know. And that's what they do. And that's a bad trait in human society, I think. They're very judgmental, aren't they? If you've been to jail, you've done this, you've done that, you don't fit. Oh, I'm not going to have him round for coffee because my friends won't like it. If my friends see me talking to him, they'll look down on me. That's how I live my life at the minute. But I don't care about those people. They do nothing for me. But what I can do is express my feelings to them. Whether they want to hear it or not, I'll tell them anyway. I will tell them what I'm thinking in a nice way. And for them to be different. And anybody can change. It's never too late. And you know what? Change to being the person you are, whether it be good or bad. And if you're bad, you can get help with it, can't you? But if you're walking out there being somebody else and nobody knows you, you're never going to get help, are you? There's no help for fakes.
When Tyson returned, he teamed up with Ben Davison. Would he have been your first choice trainer, or was it other trainers who you suggested to Tyson?
Like Ben Davison.
But no, that's perfectly fine. Yeah.
I'm very blunt about it, Anna. There you go. On to the next move.
Sound. Deontay Wilder, we'll link back to. This past weekend, he fought Dominic Breazeale, and you know, Deontay come out prior to that fight, and he said that he wanted to get a body on his record, and boxing's the one sport where it's legal for him to be able to kill someone, and why can he not exercise his right? Knowing that he shared a ring with your son, he may well do so in 2020, like we've mentioned. Does that not necessarily concern or worry you that someone's going in with that mentality to potentially fight your son once again, and he's already shared a ring with your son?
The thing is with Deontay Wilder, again, he says stuff to get attention, to build his profile up. And it seems to be with Deontay Wilder, the worse are the things he says, he thinks they're better for him. You know, nobody can be that intentional and bad-minded to want to kill somebody in the ring when it's a sport. He wouldn't like it to happen to him, would he now? All those people that's participating in the boxing match with him, they've got families. They've got kids, they've got responsibilities. No one wants to be maimed or dead, do they? So what's he coming out with rubbish like this for? Because I'll tell you why he does all that. Because when he looks in the mirror, he knows that meek, weak, mental health sufferer beat him. So him talking about killing people, it might blot out what happened to him with Tyson. Tyson has mentally wounded him. I'll tell you that now. He's wounded from what happened because everybody knows the truth. And especially a fighter, a boxer like Deontay Wilder, he'll know the truth, he'll feel the truth. And with him saying all rubbish like this, you know, it's just, I don't know. Is it trying to hide something, his true feelings again? What we spoke on about earlier, you know? You just don't say rubbish like that, do you? Because to want to kill somebody over money and fame and fortune, that's ridiculous, isn't it? It's absolutely a joke, you know, because at the end of the day, everybody's got a right to live. They're putting their life on the line to make their families' lives better. They don't want to die for it, do they? You know. And for him to say stuff like that in the position he's in, he wants to sit down with his PR team and I want to teach him how to conduct himself, because that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I'm what I am, but you never hear me saying stuff like that because I don't feel that way. I've never felt that way, that you want to harm somebody. Yeah, I've had bits of fight something down, yeah, they've gone wrong, but the intention was never to hurt anybody and maim anybody for life. You know, it might have happened in an accidental way, in the heat of battle and the heat of temper, when everything's up in the air. But to say something like that in cold blood, to emphasise your position as a world champion, it's disgraceful, isn't it? you know. But propaganda, he thinks it's selling tickets. He thinks, are people that sick that they want to come and see and pay to see someone killed in the ring? If that's the case, they need help. Who's buying the tickets? You know, if you're buying a boxing ticket to see somebody maimed or killed, you've got issues yourself. So, you know, it's all wrong. There was nothing right at all about what he said. You know, but that's him. You know, obviously, you know, he doesn't come across as being the sharpest tool in the box. You know, so you've got to question the people around him. You know, you need to sit him down and talk to him and tell him what to say and not what to say. You know, so unless they can do that, he's always going to say stuff like that. But that's all to do with what happened with Tyson, that. Because he got beat out of sight with a mental health sufferer. 45% on his job. Weak as a kitten. You know, lost 10 stone. Should never have been in the ring with him. So every time he does this, he's thinking about Tyson all the time. But you know something? All roads lead to the Gypsy King. All these sayings, all these cries for help lead to the Gypsy King. Because you don't hear the Gypsy King saying that, do you? And saying bad things about people who want to hurt people and maim people. We don't roll that way. We don't do stuff like that. Because it's not cricket. That's not how life should be. Life should be helping your fellow man through good and bad in all kinds of differences. Not to think about hurting and maiming and killing people in a sport of boxing. The world's bad enough, isn't it? Let none bring it into the boxing ring. But like I say, if that turns people on what he says, then they're sickos and they need help.
Do you think Deontay took the Tyson fight because he thought he was going to be fighting a version of him that wasn't at 100%?
Absolutely. He thought he couldn't lose. He's going to get Tyson Fury at his weakest, blow him out of there. You know something, I'll tell you this much. You know, if they thought they had a remote chance of that outcome, they'd never give Tyson a shot. Tyson fought Vladimir Klitschko. He only got that right to box Klitschko because they thought he never had a chance. And they wanted to get the Gypsy King humiliated and not called out in front of the world's audience. It didn't work for him. It went the other way. He won the world titles. They've had a second attempt to discredit him and get him ridiculed by facing the most fearsome puncher in the world, in Deontay Wilder. Because let him be thick-witted, not the full shilling, but he can punch. He can punch, and he is a good fighter. You know, he's a very good fighter. So they thought, yes, Deontay will do the job we thought Klitschko was going to do. But again, it didn't happen because they're underestimating Tyson. They're underestimating his beliefs and his desire. Because that knockdown, he defied all the physics of the world, saying you can't get up from that shot. He was asleep. You know, it was like, I don't know. It was like he had a battery pack put on him. It was like a jump pack on a flat battery. But he was up, he got up, he wasn't wobbly, he still was strong, and he went on to hit Wilder and win the rest of the round. And in the end of it, Wilder was glad to hear the final bell. We know what went on. Deontay knows what went on. Let's just move on from there and all be better people, you know. But it's us with the smiles on our face, not him or his people.
Tyson's comeback continues June 15th. Tom Schwartz. Yeah. Your thoughts on this bout between Tyson and Tom?
All boxing is what it is. But there's always that chance of the unthinkable happening, and that's heavyweight boxing. That's why people tune in to see it. Now, everybody's saying that Tom Schwartz has not got a chance with Tyson. When you're 6'6" and 17, 18 stone in weight, you're 24 years old, you're unbeaten. You've got that chance. And anything can happen. Tyson go in there complacent, overlook him, and all of a sudden you've walked into one. Anything can happen. Your mind can be on other fights. Your mind can be somewhere down the road, and all of a sudden you've been hit. When you walk into something of a big man, I don't care whether he's meant to beat you or not meant to beat you. If you make a mistake, it's over. And that's the Tom Schwartz affair. Yeah, Tyson's meant to beat him. Tyson will beat him. But there's always that chance that Tom Schwartz can do some damage. I wouldn't underestimate any fighter. Anybody above 13.5 stone has got the power to knock anybody out. You know, and at the end of the day, sometimes shut their eyes, throw a bomb when you've walked into it. And that's what happens. Because you probably can't not get up for these fights. You can't motivate yourself from them. And therefore, that in itself presents danger. No motivation for the fight. But I'm sure Tyson will take every fight as a world title fight. He hasn't underestimated Tom Swartz. He's not trained any less for Tom Swartz. He's taking Tom Swartz as serious as everybody else he's ever fought, and that's how he's got to be. But Tom Swartz, he's got a chance, and that's all you need. When there's a chance, anything can happen in heavyweight boxing. That's all I can say about the matter.
Everybody will expect to see an even better version of Tyson on the back of a Wilder fight. Knowing that, say if he was to perform better, we was to see that another improved performance from Tyson. The fans obviously disappointed that they never saw the Wilder rematch. What are your thoughts on fans' disappointment with regards to that? And do you think it adds more pressure for Tyson to fight one of the bigger names in the division after Tom Swartz?
The thing is, even with the lower names in the division, Tom Swartz is number 2 in the world. He's not there for nothing, you know. And what makes Tyson sellable? We don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what I'm going to see on the 15th of June. Am I going to see something brilliant? Am I going to see something average? Am I going to see something poor? I don't know. This is why Tyson's probably box office. Because in the Tom Swartz affair, in every other affair, you don't know what you're getting with Tyson. We don't know how he's going to go. It's all on the day with Tyson. We don't know whether he's going to be brilliant or poor, I don't know. And that's what makes him box office. I don't know. He might stink the place out, might look terrible. On the other hand, he might look sensational. We just don't know. But he can rise to any occasion, he's proved that. And that's what makes him sellable.
Now, the other big fight in the heavyweight division, which is happening next weekend, Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr. First and foremost, your thoughts on Jarrell Miller's three failed drugs tests?
Well, with it being such a big payday on such a big occasion, I don't know. Who would do stuff like that? Who would feel they've got to take all these drugs to compete when you're his size anyway and you're getting paid a lot of money? You're fighting for most of the belts. Why would you want to risk all that? Again, I don't know what's behind it, but it's a shame for Miller. But I don't know. Was he purely that afraid when it come down to the crunch of the matter? When he thought he had to do it all? When the world spotlight was on him? Did he bottle it? Did he need these answers to feel he could compete? If that's the case, the best things happened, because you wouldn't have seen a fight, would you? You know, I don't think looking at him and the way he is, he's the most bravest man in the world, is he? You know, he's had it all his own way at the minute. You know, but like I said, he stepped up to the plate and failed. So you can't have anything really good to say, can you? You know, the drugs is one thing, but if he had no heart to box in the beginning, he shouldn't have been there, should he? You know, I just do believe that, you know, there's more to it. I don't know. I'm not really interested in what they do. You know, and I do know how everything works, and, you know, it's obviously worked for their situation at the moment, and so let them get on with it.
Obviously, Andy Ruiz Jr. steps in. Your thoughts on AJ versus Ruiz?
Ruiz hasn't had enough time to prepare, has he? You know, he's fighting Anthony Joshua. It's meant to be this, meant to be that. You can't have 3 weeks or 4 weeks training for that fight. And I just think he's probably not enough time to focus on it properly. But again, anything can happen. Ruiz is good enough. He's got fast hands, he can punch, he's got a good boxing brain, and he's got art. So he can't write people off. But the physics say it's a Wilder win. It's a Joshua win. But worth watching anyway. It's worth watching.
Obviously, everybody's, like you say, waiting for Fury Wilder AJ to meet. Hopefully 2020, if not the end of 2019, will bring that. Do you think that everybody being signed to different promoters and different TV networks will be a stumbling block in trying to make those fights?
I think they all should fight each other. Tyson's done his bit. Tyson's proved that he'll step up to the plate and box even on 45%. Tyson has no more to prove to nobody. They have. Joshua certainly has. Joshua certainly has. Let him box Wilder, and then Tyson will fight the winner. That fits proper like a jigsaw puzzle, don't it?
How big could Joshua Fury be in the UK?
Oh, listen. I don't think Manchester would be big enough to hold the people, would it? You know, it could be the biggest fight of the century, I think. That it'll be probably the biggest heavyweight fight of the century. And I want to see it. Because, to be honest with you, I'm not interested in anything to do in only that fight. I'm not interested in Wilder anymore. Because I know he can beat Wilder. He has Wilder's number. We know that. I just want to get it on with him to prove a lot of points. You know, all these people, I read all these comments that Fury can't do this. AJ will spark him. AJ will sleep him. I want to make a video then, 5 hours long, when the event does happen. Because I'm telling you now, he has no more of a chance of beating Tyson than Tom Swartz has.
Well, when you do that video, John, as long as you invite me down to film
Well,
it.
listen, it's just what it is. Listen, I want to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see the best fight the best. You know, that's what it's all about. They've all got enough money. Any more is just greed. Let them pay the dues to the promoters and the people behind them. Let them earn a few bob. But make them fights. It's not worth watching otherwise. The grand finale is, we can put up with all of that. It's like having a birthday before Christmas, isn't it? Or this, that and the other. You know, you can put up with your small presents, can't you, with your birthday? But for Christmas, you want something a bit special, don't you? So at the end of the day, let's get the speciality on. Joshua Fury. It's got to be in the UK, not America, because they're both British. That would disappoint me. I know Tyson signed up with ESPN, great network and all that, but we're British people. And I want the British fans to enjoy it here on home turf. I do believe that Joshua and Tyson is the biggest fight in the world, even a bigger fight than him and Wilder, you know, because he's an American Wilder, but these are two Brits, you know, so I just hope that it comes off and they're both unbeaten. But what I want to see AJ tested. I want him tested. And the biggest test for him is Deontay Wilder. He's ready. Wilder's ready. They've had no setbacks, have they? They've not suffered any mental health. They've both been guided correctly. They're both on top of the game. You know, they think they're the best. Let them get the best done. Tyson's already done his bit. Tyson's fought the most feared one out there. And let's put it this way. AJ didn't want to fight, did he? That's why Tyson stepped in to save his country. To stop his country feeling ashamed, Tyson stepped in and picked up the gauntlet and took it on. And he thought, well, okay, AJ, you're meant to be this, you're meant to be that, but I've got to save my country. And hand on heart, that's what he did. He stepped in to save his country from the Americans ridiculing us and calling us all cowards. So he thought, yeah, I'm on 45%, but nobody's calling me a coward because I'm a Brit and I live in Britain and I'm going to defend my country. Like his forefathers did. They all defended the country. It's a small island. He thinks they've defended against millions of people. I'm defending against one man. I'm stepping up and doing it. And that takes guts to do that. So Tyson's no more to prove. He's got it all to prove. And he could go up a lot in my estimations if he fought Wilder. Forget these little ruses, 5'10s and 11s, little fat kids. We're all fat. I'm fat. But the lad hasn't had time to prepare. It's nothing to do with his physical condition. I'm a fat man. Tyson's a fat man. There's no body beautifuls here. But even so, you need time to prepare to the fight of this magnitude, and he hasn't had time. But good luck to him. It can happen, and he's good enough for Ruiz. I wish him good luck. But I want AJ to keep winning. I want AJ to beat Wilder. So all I'm saying can take place here in the UK with millions and millions watching. I think they'll declare a bank holiday, won't they, when it happens?
They should. Brilliant, I'd hope so.
They'll declare a week's holiday, won't they, when nobody does know for a full week to get ready for this fight, you know what I'm saying? But listen, it's an event I hope I see in my lifetime. You know, and at the end of the day, what a spectacle to look forward to. And it will happen. The only way that won't happen, if they won't let it happen. It'll happen because we want it to happen. Tyson wants to fight AJ. I want to fight AJ. All his family want to fight AJ. We ain't shying from no one. He wants to cement a legacy, Tyson, of being the best of his era. And he fought every good champion what was there. And he's already done the hard bit, beating Klitschko in Germany. He's done the hard bit going to America, getting this so-called farce of a draw with Wilder, which he won anyway. But all that's leading up to this big, big night of boxing. And we want it here in Britain. So Eddie Hearn, it's not us, mate. We ain't going to run from you. You know, it's 50-50 because Tyson's as popular as what he is. Tyson's done more than what he has. You know, Tyson's beat genuine, legitimate champions, dangerous men. AJ hasn't. So 50-50 split. You know, even Tyson said he'd box him for give the proceeds to charity, give all the purse winnings to charity. You can't get no more straightforward than that. Tyson said he'll box him when the time's right for free. And I do believe that'll be the case. But listen, if it's about money, get it on. Get it on, let's do it. You know, and Eddie Hearn, he knows what we're like. We're not gonna steal. We ain't running from nobody in this life. Tyson's not even 31 yet, we've got plenty of time. And you're going to see two fighters fight at the best. Not when they're old men, 37, 38, when they're past the best. You're going to see young men at the best, at the peak, fighting one another, And let's just wait and see. And that you'll see the prediction will be right. Tyson will wear that crown, it'll be cemented on his head. He'll be sleeping with it on till he dies. And this can only take place in the UK. I'm looking so forward to it. But fans out there, hear this. It's happening. It's happening. He can run, but he can't hide. Tyson's got to do what he's got to do. He's signed agreements, he's got on them. But the end result is AJ. And I bet AJ has sleepless nights over it as well, because he knows what's coming. Listen, you can't beat what you can't hit. When you can't hit it, you're not going to be able to beat it, are you? It's like me trying to play tennis out there. I'm never going to beat Djokovic, whatever his name is. I'm a Djokovic if I can't hit the ball. And that's what it's going to be like. It's like me trying to play Djokovic at Wimbledon. You know what I'm saying? But listen, let's see. They've got a puncher's chance. And that's all he's got is a puncher's chance, like the rest of them.
Your thoughts as well on the other big name in the division who doesn't hold a belt, Dillian Whyte, over 500 days as the number one in the WBC. How sorry or what are your thoughts do you feel towards Dillian and the fact that he hasn't been able to fight for a world title yet? Do you think he's deserving of a shot?
Well, to be honest with you, did he turn down a sum of money to fight AJ? I don't know why he did that, because, when you're a fighting man, get in. And they was talking millions, wasn't they? So I don't know why he didn't do that.
It seemed to be the reason was he was offered a smaller purse first time round, and then on the rematch, the clause was regardless of whether Dillian won or not, AJ would still have the bigger share of the percentage.
Yeah, but us, a challenger, we've been in that position and we had to put up with that. When we fought Klitschko, we was on hardly any money. We didn't gripe over purses because we know that the champion gets most of everything out there. But he'll have his reasons, Dillian Whyte. But that's then. We'll talk about now. And I say now, give Dillian Whyte a title shot. He's earned it. He's number one by the WBC and whatever organising bodies. Why won't you give him a title shot? Why? What's the problem? He's earned it. If Jarrell Miller can get a title shot, and Dillian Whyte's a lot better than Jarrell Miller, and I think Dillian Whyte's the fourth best heavyweight on the planet, even though he's running very close with Derek Chisora. 2 great fights, thrilling, but he did win. I don't think he beat him the first time around. I think Del Boy won that fight. The second time, there's no questions. He was behind on points, but he pulled out the big shot, even with the Australian. Parker. He won the fight. It was close. He was lucky to get through the final bell, but he did. So he's earned his right to fight those boys, especially Deontay Wilder. Why won't they give him a shot? I don't know, but he deserves one. All this eliminator rubbish with my son. Why? Well, that's a backward step for Tyson. We're going forwards, not backwards. Tyson doesn't have to box any eliminators. He signed a big deal there. Why does he have to do this and do that? He doesn't have to do anything because he's earned his right to be in his position. And why would he want an eliminator for the belt? He's already won. Even though he hasn't got it round his waist, still won it. So let them do the eliminated. But he's done enough eliminators as Dillian Whyte. Give him his shot. They'll probably say, well, you had a chance against AJ, you didn't take it. But probably he's got his reasons. It was very political. I don't know. Because I'm sure Dillian Whyte would fight, But if it's not right and the money's not right, his position secured, and he thinks, well, okay then, I'm not going to take chicken feed when I'm number one, and there's maybe a bigger fight on the horizon. Let that horizon come to Dillian Whyte, let him fight. He deserves to fight. And if he doesn't, it's a shame, and it shows it's still political, because he has earned his right. And he's a good fighter. He's getting better all the time.
Now to move on from the heavyweights to your other son, light heavyweight, Tommy. We've got to come on to him.
Oh,
An impressive start to his career so far. Yeah. 2 fights, 2 wins. Yeah. Stoppage victory last time out. How pleasing, and what are your thoughts with regards to his career so far as a professional?
Yeah, as a professional boxer, he's got all the tools. He's looking the part, but obviously it's too early to tell. Opposition's been mediocre, we know that, but they've both been tough lads. And the first one he fought, 118 fights, he was well experienced. And 4 rounds isn't really enough to get an experienced man out of there, because they can hang on for 4 rounds. Experience only will tell them that much. And the second fight, Callum Hyde, he'd never been stopped like that, in that fashion before ever. in his 27 bouts, he never got destroyed in 40 seconds, whatever it was. So, yeah, I was happy with what I seen. Obviously, you can't gauge much by him, but get a look at him and say, you know what, he's got ability, he's got this, he can punch you, and he can go a long way. But other things now are affecting Tommy's boxing career, aren't they? Like this Love Island thing and all that job. And I'm not sure which way he wants to go and who he's been listening to. Because I'm not into all that Love Island rubbish. You know, it's not for me. You know, it's all kiddie stuff. You know, I'm a hardcore boxing fan. I bred lads to fight and win titles. But if these opportunities approach yourself in this new modern age, and that's what people get off on, he'll probably do well in that. You know, and it's up to him, it's his life. But for me, he's a boxer. He's not. He ain't a model. He could have been a model. He turned jobs down to be a model. You know, but at the end of the day, boxing's his first and foremost venture in life. Not all this. Even though now it's enjoyable, it's the summer months, and at this stage of his career, it can only do him better, doing more good than harm. So let him get on with it. You know, but like I say, I want to see him back in the gym. I want to see him training and fighting again.
How has Tommy felt as a professional, being Tyson's younger brother? Has he felt a pressure on himself to try and live up to the performances and the exposure that Tyson's received, or is he able to cope with it quite well? What's Tommy like trying to deal with that?
Tommy knows his position like I know his position. You know, to try and live up to somebody like Tyson, it's like me having a teaspoon trying to empty Blackpool Beach, isn't it, of sand? You know, he's out there, Tyson. He's a one-off. Nobody can ever live up to Tyson or be Tyson. All you can do is be yourself and do what you can do. You know, and he's got off to a great start. He knows that he's a lucky lad to have the name he's got, to be the brother of a certain famous heavyweight man who the world is talking about, which is on every network there is now, and in America it'll only get bigger and bigger. In 12 months' time, Tyson's name will be everywhere, all over the world, which it is now, but what I'm saying, it'll be even bigger. So no one can live up to that, especially Tommy. And he don't try to. Tommy's Tommy. He knows his position. He's a young lad. He's 19, just turned 20 years old. He's doing well. He's got a great team around him. He's got good training in Ricky Hatton, good people around him. You know, and he's had this chance now to be on terrestrial TV, ITV2. Great opportunities have presented themselves for Tommy, and he's taking them with both hands and enjoying them. But I say, yeah, you know, enjoy. You're a kid. How many other 20-year-old kids get them offers? And I'm sure if he wasn't Tyson's brother and he wasn't a Fury, nobody would have offered him the part. There's other smart, good-looking lads out there, 6 foot tall, muscled and all that. The world's full of them. But they haven't got a brother like Tyson, have they? And they haven't got a father like me, and they haven't got background like he's got. You know, it stands out, it's different, and people's interested in different stuff, and he presents different stuff to what people's already seeing. And he's quite good at his job, Tommy. He enjoys these things. He integrates well, which you'll see on this programme. You know, I'm looking quite forward to the ITV2 show of Love Island, even though I've never seen it before, because it's not my bag, because I'm an old man, it's a kid's thing. But I will watch it because Tommy's in it, and I want to watch how he conducts himself. It'll be great fun. Tune in. ITV2.
Well, I'm sure I can.
Sometime in June.
I can give you a few words of advice as to what to expect later on, John.
Yeah.
But just on that, you know, Tommy going on to Love Island, I remember speaking to you off camera when I got here. In terms of his profile, how big it could be for him to build a fan base away from the Fury name, effectively, and getting fans who are younger and are not even following boxing, and trying to build a different profile, excuse me, to than what Tyson has.
Well, anything can happen. And new doors are opening now for Tommy, aren't they? This Love Island thing could make Tommy's life totally different. You know, he, like you say, he's out there, he's in front of new audiences, because people who watch ITV2 and stuff like that are probably not boxing fans anyway, you know, but it brings it all together, doesn't it? It integrates everything, you know. If people watch him, they think, hang on, yeah, I've watched him, he's a boxer. They'll want to watch boxing to see Tommy do what he does best, you know, because I don't think he's an actor and out like that, Tommy, but he could end up in films. You just don't know what's round the corner, do you? He's so young. And the world's his oyster. Who knows? The right people get round him. They teach him different things, you know. We don't know where he could go. There's people come from a lot worse a situation, a lot worse a background than Tommy. What's made it big in movies and every other sport, you know. So you've got to start somewhere. And he's had a bloody good start as Tommy. I just hope he's sensible, keeps his head in the right position, keeps his feet on the ground, keeps respecting people, says what's right. you know, and gets on and does his job and enjoys everything. That's what he needs to do, is keep level-headed and enjoy everything at 20.
That's what I was about to ask you. You know, say if Tommy was to reach a final of Love Island, having glanced over the last year's Love Island contestants, have had over 1 million followers across each social media platform. You know, you can imagine he'll get a lot of attention from others, from women included in that. As his dad, considering the fact that he's obviously Tyson Fury's brother as well, how will you go about trying to maintain that level-headedness and to make sure that he doesn't become distracted by the other things in life?
You can only advise them, can't you? You can lead a horse to water, but it's up to the horse to drink the water. So I can only say to Tommy, don't be a fool, be level-headed, say what's right, conduct yourself properly, have no comment and nothing and nobody what you don't understand anything about, and go forward the right way. Be nice to everybody. If you're not sure about something, ask about it, you know, and just make sure you've got the right friends and people around you, instead of a load of hangers-on, probably what's jealous underneath, to advise you to do different things what's not good for you. So therefore you've got to have your eyes wide. You've got to be in a wider weight club now, as Tommy. It's got to be in the wider weight club, because there's going to be a lot of people out there, the jealousy, the stigma, the backbiting, the internet wars, these internet warriors that are saying all bad things. You've got to develop now thick skin, because you're in that spotlight, and people will have a go at you because they're jealous, because they're probably never going to get a chance like he's had as a young kid. But what I say to all that, let it go over your head. You do what you've got to do. Keep your eye on the ball and just do what's right, and take and follow sound advice from whoever may be. And that's the end result of that one. You can't go wrong with that, I don't think.
When I arrived, John, we were speaking about Tommy and how the opportunities that he might get, and obviously what Tyson may have had, may not have come because of their backgrounds being gypsies. What are your thoughts with regards to the gypsy background and how it may have hindered, or not necessarily bettered, because I know you said that he wouldn't have done so, but what about hindering their progress as their lives go on?
No, I don't see that being the case at all. If you're good at what you do, and you're doing the right things, and you're fitting in, and you're integrating with all walks of life, I don't think it really matters where you're from. And we're only gypsies in blood only. None of these have lived like gypsies. You know, I stopped living in a caravan when I was 20 years old. I've always had my own properties. These have always been brought up in an house. You know, these lads of mine have never left this village. You know, they've been here all their life. They've been to school here. All their friends are here. They've never travelled around in caravans or anything like that. And certainly Tommy hasn't. You know, so they're only gypsies in let's just generations, back generations. My mother and father were travelling people. You know, all my family was travelling people. But I had aunts and uncles going back to the 40s and 50s, what was in houses then. You know, we've always been sort of like settled down business people. You know, we've never lived like on pieces of ground or nothing like this, or these sites, so-called sites they put about, you know. We've been on them, we've drove on and off them, maybe stayed there for 2 or 3 days or a week or a month, but we've always had our own place to go back to. And that's always been bricks and mortar like everybody else. And I don't see myself as any different to the next man. Yes, there's people that are up and down, they're on the side of the roads, they're getting wherever they can. They're staying on parks, fields, lanes, side of the road, but that's because they've got no choice. They've got nowhere else to go. I've been lucky throughout my life because I didn't want that life. I wanted what everybody else is getting. Hot water, gas central heating, you know, my own freedom, my own room to put my own things. Don't have to be nice to somebody to stay on his site. You know, I didn't want that. I didn't want to be a yes man for a site owner or be nice to him just to stay on his place. Never wanting to upset him in case he might throw me off. You know, but these people stopping here, they don't have any choice. That's what they've got, no more, no less. They're not lucky enough to have running water, hot water, gas central heating. And that's through no fault of their own. It's purely because they're not educated people. And no one's took time to educate them and show them the better life. But now, they're catching on that's a thing of the past. It's all out with the horse and buggy, and most of them now are buying properties. If they can buy a property, they will do. And it's turning now. I see in another 10 to 15 years there'll be no caravans on the road at all anymore. They'll all be in some kind of properties, you know, because that way of life is gone. It's a lovely way of life. I got my old wagon out in the yard. I'll show you in a minute. It's there in the yard, but I only use it for recreational purposes, for enjoyment, for peace of mind and going back in time. Nostalgia. But would I want to live in it 24 hours a day? No way. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I've got my gas centre, I've got my water, I've got my Sky television, I've got all the mod cons. I've got what everybody else has got. I've got what I've worked hard to get, and I want to enjoy them. I don't want to rough it. I don't want to be an old man, 65-year-old, walking up the step and going to the garage for a chain of water. I want it on hand. I want it brought to me. You know, I want to walk in the kitchen, turn the hot tap on. I want to run the bath and get in it 10 minutes later. You know, I don't want that life. I don't want it. So I worked hard for a better life, and I've got a better life. You know, so I say to others, the trailer life, get them sold, get yourself a property, whatever it may be. I don't care if it's even a council house. A council house is more comfortable than any caravan. You know what I'm saying? There's mod cons there, and they're all nice people. You know, I was reared up round council houses, me. Being brought up in Derbyshire and places like that, and Yorkshire and NCB coalboard houses. They was a community, and a good community. And I remember those days being round them council house people and all those kind of people as the happiest days of my life. And them people was the poorest of the poorest. We was. Hard-working people, salt-of-the-earth people. So there's no wrong with getting a council house. If I was unfortunate enough not to be able to have my own property and this, that and the other, I wouldn't be worried about living in a council house or living in that community. They're great people. But what I say, the caravans are all right for a bit of an holiday here and there and going abroad. But permanent living, sides of roads, parks, lanes, roadsides, car park, anywhere you want to go, you know, it's gone. It's finished with, boys. Forget about it. You know, and I think the council should do more to people who's buying their own land. Some people haven't got millions of pounds, they haven't got hundreds of thousands, but they've got a few £1,000s to buy some land. And I think the council should bend the rules a bit or change the rules so they can make a life for themselves. Give them some planning permission for a mobile home. Let them take the kids to school. Let them enjoy what they're enjoying. Give them a chance, because how are they going to enjoy it? How are they going to get it if there's no way of getting all this money? A terraced house today in a bad area is £100,000. I can go in the middle of Longside now, in the worst house, nobody want to live in it, but it's still £100,000 worth. So at the end of the day, poor people living in caravans, how are they going to change? I'll tell you how they change, like the mental health, they need help. And I think the councils can help these people by letting them buy their own land and giving them a bit of planning permission, you know, for families and whatnot, to get the kids in school, get them educated, and then this caravan problem will go away. In a few years, you won't never see any caravans, because they'll all have their own plots of land, they'll all be living normal lives, they'll all be doing what the rest of the people's doing, and then the word gypsy will be unheard of. You know, because it'll have died out, because everybody would have seen the light. All the councils and the government will have helped them to a better, more prosperous life. And that's my take on that. That's the take on the gypsy world. Gone out with the horse and buggy. It's gone out with the horse and buggy, the gypsy life. I'm proud to live in my house and drink my tea.
Is there ever a part of you, whenever you look back and you think how different your life could have been if you'd have taken that journey instead and you'd have followed more of like the gypsy culture? I don't know if that's the right way to word it.
It was never going to be for me, because I thought it was better than that. I thought, you know what, do I want to stay on a car park? Do I want to go to garages for water? Do I want to be begging, borrowing, stealing all my life, getting moved on by council and police, being nice to everybody to stay there? It wasn't for me, that. I'm the wrong kind of man. I set out from being a kid. I used to save me money under a stone in a plastic bag, in pennies and halfpennies, little bits of pound notes, whatever I could do. And I always had a thought, you know what, if I can ever get enough money, the first thing I'm going to do is buy a patch of land. And that's what I did. I bought a patch of land when I was 19 years old. While everybody wanted to buy an XR3 or a sports car and this, that and the other and be clever down the local disco, that weren't for me. I thought, I'll walk, save me money, I'm going to buy myself a place. So I don't have to live like this anymore. You know, no disrespect to my dad and my mum. They worked hard all their life but never seemed to get any farther forward. We always had that caravan on the truck and the van. You know, and I thought, you know what? These things get older by the day. You know, Next year they're not worth as much. A year after, probably worth even less. But an house, I thought, and property goes up and up and up. Yeah. The longer you've got it, the more it's worth. And that was my mentality. And that's what brings me here today. You know, through having that mentality as a boy.
Yeah, we'll pick that back up, John. Yeah. This past weekend, Billy Joe Saunders became a two-weight world champion when he defeated Shefat Isufi for the WBO World Super Middleweight title. Your thoughts on his performance?
I just thought Billy, for the time out of the ring, he's been very inactive and he's had a terrible year in 2018. He's done exceptionally well. And he made a good fight to look average. But if you'd have stood in front of that fella, I can't say his name,
Shefat Isufi.
But if he hadn't have been a mover and being like boxing like he was, that fella would have presented clear and present danger, which we've seen in the 6th round. Billy got caught with a good shot, he got hurt and he come through. You know, but how are you going to deal with boxing skills like that? And they're only going to get better from Billy, aren't they? They're only going to get better and better and better. The time out the ring, the terrible year in 18, he boxed absolutely brilliantly. You know, he's a talent and a half, is Billy, and I think he can only get better and better. He's only 29 years old, you know, two-weight world champion. You know, great stuff, isn't it? It's great for Billy, great for the travelling people, you know, and great for boxing.
He's obviously stepped up to super middleweight now. Many believe that he can drop back down to middleweight if fights were offered. What was your thoughts at the time when he had to vacate his title to fight Demetrius Andrade because of the nasal spray incident?
Well, again, this nasal spray thing, I don't know what went on there. It's all like storybook stuff to me, and I don't want to even get involved in that. Things happen for a reason. They happened. They give him a terrible year. But with Billy, it's all about motivation, as at Tyson. If you've got a big fight signed for and you're fighting one of the best fighters in the world, Billy can make middleweight. But he needs motivation to make middleweight. But he had a disgusting year, you know, and at the end of the day, yeah, he brought a lot of these problems upon himself doing stupid things. But I think being only young, you know, and again, having the wrong people around you and listening to the wrong people, you perform like this. But I think since then, he's got his head on. You know, he's a different man. He's engaged in his training program properly, and he's benefited from it. You know, but like I say, we all do mad stuff here and there, but you can get mixed up with the wrong crowd, forget who you are and where you are and do stupid stuff, and he's paid that price. But I think he's over that hurdle now, and it proved in his boxing on Saturday night. Done really, really well.
It obviously seems to be that the fights which kept being mentioned would either be Canelo or Golovkin at middleweight or Callum Smith at super middleweight. What do you think would be better, or what would you like to see in terms of Billy Joe and who he would face? Would you like to see him step back down to face one of Canelo or Golovkin, or have a massive British unification fight with Callum Smith at super middleweight?
Well, let's take the two, the Canelos and the GGs. Yeah, I'd like to see him fight any one of them at middleweight, because I think a fit and a well seasoned and a well conditioned Billy Joe Saunders, an active Billy Joe Saunders, I think he's got a great chance of beating both of them, because they have never boxed anybody. You look down their fights, have never boxed anybody with Billy Joe's ability. You know, and that style poses problems to anyone out there. I don't care who they are. And I say, if he's been active and he's on his game and he's done all his training programs properly, I think he can beat any one of them men without a problem. The Callum Smith thing, he's a big boy, Callum Smith. Yeah. He's a very, very big individual. He's a strong lad, and probably on the night, he might be a bit big for Billy Joe, you know what I'm saying? And he is a big, fearsome, strong lump, isn't he, Callum Smith? You know, he's a puncher. He's already he's already a world champion, isn't he? I think, isn't he? You know, and he won the belt in sensational style. Maybe Callum Smith, I think, might be a bit big for him on the big side. He's a big lad. He's 6'3", probably weighing 14 stone on the night. You know, he's got a lot to do. But he'd have to hit Billy. But he looks just a big, strong lump him. And if you're a bigger, stronger individual, 12 rounds is a long time. You know, I'm not saying Billy Joe can't win. Probably he can. But he'd be the more difficult task, Callum Smith, with his sheer size and strength. And he can punch and he can fight himself. You know, you don't give world title belts about it. Don't give them for free. But if I had to, for my own money, I want to see Billy fight Canelo or Golovkin. What's his name? Golovkin, yeah. Any one of them two, because he is a genuine middleweight, Billy. But he needs motivation to get him down to middleweight. You know, and like everything else in life, if you've got a goal and it's out there to be achieved, he can do it, Billy. His best work is at middleweight, I think.
Do you think Billy's been avoided in the same sense that Tyson has at heavyweight? You know, Billy Joe come out saying that he signed a contract twice for Golovkin and they turned away from it.
Absolutely. You know, who'd want to box a nightmare like Billy Joe Saunders and Tyson? They got this jerky style, this slippery thing. Like, it'd be like trying to pick a eel up out of a pond, isn't it, on a winter's day? You know, at the end of the day, they're very hard to pin down, aren't they? And they can make the best fighters in the world look ordinary. That kid he fought Saturday night, he was a good fighter. And he made him look ordinary. So people say, yeah, he was rubbish, it was a mismatch, that. He's not world class. He was world class, it's just Billy's that damn good. And he's slippery and he's got that much ability. You know, he makes these fighters. He will make any fighter on the planet look like that. You know, he'd be outboxing Callum Smith, but Callum Smith's a big lad. He could engage, grab hold of him, messing up and down, roll about with him, and maybe land a big one on him, wear him down. But in his own weight and his own right, I don't see Billy getting touched. I don't.
Well, John Fury, that brings an end to more questions. I could sit here for hours on end, to be fair, but I know you've got stuff to do. There's plenty of stuff which I'd love to have talked about, but as I say, I appreciate you allowing me to come up today to see you and giving me your time. Final word with you, anything you'd like to end on?
No, Andy, have a safe trip back on the boat. I hope you've enjoyed your time with me, and I hope people can get something good out of what I've been saying and discussing here with you for the past hour and a half. So, yeah, good to see you, and you're always welcome to come again. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
John, thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Tune in, everybody. Boxing Social.
Cheers, John. Thank you.